Central Bank of Boone County, known for decades as Boone County National Bank, has been a part of our county life for nearly 170 years. The bank's ancestry begins with a successful Columbia merchant, Moss Prewitt, and his son-in-law, Robert Beverly Price Sr. They acted as guardians of precious commodities for local individuals out of their downtown general store in the mid-1850s. And for two reasons in particular. First, they had a safe, a rarity at that time. And secondly, their customers trusted the two men. But the environment of a general store wasn't practical for banking. And so in 1857, Prewitt purchased a building on Broadway for use as a banking house. That was the beginning of what is now the oldest bank in Boone County. And the notion of being a community bank is something that was a literal truth in 1857 and is still a dearly held tradition and priority for the bank today. Prewitt and Price were community servants as well as merchants and newly made bankers. Prewitt was a founder of the University of Missouri and later would be on their board of curators. Price operated the town's first electric lighting and waterworks system and was the county treasurer for 35 years. Soon after Prewitt purchased that building on Broadway in 1857, he and Price became the Columbia branch of the Exchange Bank of St. Louis. 6 years later, in 1863, the national bank system was created, and a national charter was granted to the bank under the new name First National Bank of Columbia, making it the first national bank organized in Missouri and the third west of the Mississippi River. During the Civil War, bank robberies were frequent. In 1864, Bloody Bill Anderson's guerrilla warriors massacred Union soldiers at Centralia and were reported to be heading toward Columbia to rob the bank. Bank President R.B. Price Sr. took $150,000 in currency and $70,000 in gold and buried it under a fence post on the farm of a trusted friend 3 miles north of Columbia. Towards the end of the Civil War, the bank temporarily gave up its national charter and did business as a state charter, but in 1871, the bank resumed its national charter under the name Boone County National Bank, a name that would be embraced for 144 years. Between the conclusion of the Civil War and the start of World War I, growth was slow but steady for both Columbia and the bank. In 1873, the bank moved to a new brick building on the corner of 8th and Broadway, where Simmons Bank is currently located. That would remain its home until it moved again in 1917 to the magnificent stone edifice we now know at the southwest corner of 8th and Broadway. In 1913, the bank is the first in the area to join the brand new Federal Reserve System. In the years that followed, Boone County National Bank not only survives the crash of 1929 and the ensuing depression, but it thrives and experiences tremendous growth in the 1950s and 60s. It was also during the post-war period the bank began to appoint capable women to officer and management positions, a priority and tradition the bank has embraced ever since. In the early 1950s, the bank makes Dorothy Jacobs the first female bank officer in Columbia. In the years since, other women who were directors and administrators included Florence Willis, Marjo Price, Edith Wright, Libby Gill, Vicki Dunscombe, Carla Despain, Judy Starr, and the current Senior Vice President of Marketing, 30-year employee, Mary Wilkerson.
Well, it's a really interesting organization, and I can speak sort of from a place of naivete about what a bank is, right? So when I got offered this job, I thought, well, this is a very bad idea. I don't belong at a bank. I mean, I had this vision of this very staid, conservative, you know, kind of like place that didn't have any imagination, or it just didn't make sense to me that a person like me would belong, right? So when I got here, I was very, very surprised. I was like, wait a minute, this is a very engaged organization. We are creating businesses, and we're putting people in homes, and we're making dreams come true, and we're contributing to the community, and we're doing art shows, and we're helping nonprofits. And I was just absolutely entranced by this place, and that was such a big surprise to me.
So really, my relationship with Central Bank goes back even prior to my foundation. So it goes back to my role as Director of Multicultural Achievement for Columbia Public School System. And so we give a conference every year, and I've been doing that for like 12 years, and they have been a sponsor in one form or another for all those 12 years. So my relationship started with that. And when I created the James and Elwood Entrepreneur Development Foundation, Central Bank literally was right there on the ground floor. So we support minority and women-owned businesses. That is our focus. We concentrate on Columbia and mid-Missouri. Our goal is that eventually our foundation will be spread out throughout the state of Missouri and then eventually nationwide. Our goal is in 5 years to be a state foundation and then in 10 years to be a national foundation. We believe that we can reach over $1 million as a foundation, and that's our goal. And we believe that our relationship with Central Bank will help us get us there.
The bank has always been community focused, you know, and so having worked here, all my predecessors, you know, that my earliest memory would be Bo Frazier, you know, it was, yeah, it's a good business model to serve the community, but it's even better for the culture in the community. And so I really felt like I wanted to be part of that. And, you know, never thought I'd be in banking, thought I'd be in something financial services with an accounting degree. But once you get into the organization and you see how you affect people's lives over a long period of time, and I'm doing this long enough now that I've seen people we've started grow their businesses or their enterprise, get to retirement, next generation comes on to does work.
When you look at Ed Scavone's leadership team, he has 4 women on his leadership team. And people, again, think of banking as a male-dominated industry, right? Very conservative, very male-dominated. We have 4 extraordinary women who are executives running this bank along with Ed Scavone. And that means a lot to me as a woman who really cares about women in leadership.
Former bank president Al Price, a 4th-generation bank president, made the hard choice to join a strong and compatible group of banks in 1974 when the bank joined Central Bancorp, the holding company of Central Bank in Jefferson City. This allowed the bank to expand its services and facilities while continuing the community-based banking on which it had been founded. In 2007, the bank celebrated its 150th birthday with the Roots and Blues and Barbecue Festival in downtown Columbia, which drew 70,000 people and generated more than $7 million in economic impact to the bank's hometown. In 2015, the bank changed its name to Central Bank of Boone County and let go of its national charter to better reflect its relationship to the other 12 affiliate banks of Central Bank Company. All of those separate bank charters were combined into one central bank in 2021. Today, Central Bank of Boone County has 16 locations, and it remains what it has always been, a pillar of trust, security, and community service to the city of Columbia and the county of Boone. Ladies, gentlemen, and esteemed friends, please welcome into the Boone County Hall of Fame, Central Bank of Boone County.